Hi everyone, just to let you know, we'll be beginning shortly. We're just waiting on the speaker. I'm not sure if she's experiencing some technological difficulties at the moment. Just bear with me, please. Apologies, everyone. I am still waiting on our speaker. I think we can give it another 5 minutes, and if they are unable to attend, we may have to cancel or postpone this session. Thank you for your patience. Hi, and thank you for joining us. Apologies for the
Hi.
delay. Good morning, all. Thank you all for joining us. We're joined by Oliver Twain, a clinical psychologist who will be speaking about the importance of emotional intelligence in the workplace and how individuals can use various strategies to develop self-awareness and learn how to regulate their emotions appropriately to foster great interpersonal relationships with their team members. We may have some time at the end of this session for a brief Q&A session. If you do have any questions, please be sure to put them into the Q&A box, not the chat box. Now to hand over to Oliver Twain. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for being here. So my name is Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I also work as a family life practitioner. I work with parents, especially parents who are raising teenagers, in connecting and having a very good relationship with their teenagers. As we all know that raising teenagers could be a bit challenging, but in the end, it is rewarding. So today I'll be talking about emotional intelligence. I'll be talking about how we can develop self-awareness in regulating our emotions so that we can have very good relationship with our team members, our clients, anyone we're working with in general. So I'm going to share my slide, and when I share my slide, I will continue the presentation from there. Let's see. Enter. Just a minute, please. Need to share. If you can see my slide, indicate in the chat room that you can see my slide. Okay, so that's my slide. This is me. I work with families, I work with individuals, I also work with family members. And let's go straight into it. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, one of the essential tools or skill we need as psychologists, irrespective of the field we find ourselves, is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence simply means your ability to be smart with your emotions. It's your ability to use information from your emotions to act appropriately, and also use these emotions, this information, to respond to things happening to your surrounding. Emotional intelligence is your ability to identify, understand your emotion, and also your ability to manage and regulate them appropriately. Emotional intelligence is one skill, is a skill, and is also a tool we need, irrespective of the field of psychology we're going into. So, for your practice as a psychologist, you need emotional intelligence. And for you to be effective on your job in in terms of relating with your team members, in terms of relating with other people, emotional intelligence is that skill you would need. Now, when we talk of emotional intelligence, like I said, it helps you with situations, it helps you with your client, it helps you in making optimal decisions. So every day we make choices, every day we have to make decisions about either what we do at work, how we relate to our team members, how we relate to our clients. We make decisions in terms of our personal well-being too. And if we do not understand how we make these decisions or how these decisions are being made, we end up reacting instead of responding to situations around us. Every day we make decisions, and the way we interact with our clients, the way we interact with our team members, the way we interact with people around us is a function of how we feel. And most times, the way we feel is a function of our thought process, is a function of our values, is a function of our beliefs, is a function of attitude, our environment, and our past and significant emotional experiences. So it's very important that we understand why we do what we do. That's why about self-awareness. It's important we understand where our thoughts are coming from. It's important we understand why we believe certain things. All these things are function of where the way we were raised as individuals, the people we meet, the people we interact with, things we've heard, things we watch on TV, things we read in books, everything around us, they all add up to what how we feel, what we believe, and our thought process. So it's important that we note that if you are not smart with your emotions, if you're not able to regulate yourself appropriately, you tend to react to situations around you. If you're not smart about the things you're thinking, what comes to your mind, why are you thinking like this? Why is this thought coming to you? Why do I feel like this towards this person? Why do I respond to these situations like this? If you're not aware about all these things, you end up realizing that you end up reacting to situations. And if we react, most times we regret the consequences of our actions. And that's why it's important we build this skill known as emotional intelligence. But for individuals that are smart, they tend to respond to situations. And when we say people respond to situations, we are simply saying that they are putting consequences into action, they're considering the consequences of their action, they're considering the fact that whatever I do, how does it affect other people? That's when we say that person is emotionally intelligent. That's when we say that person is smart with ease or emotion. To be emotionally smart, we need to develop some skills. And these skills are known as components of emotional intelligence. We have about 5 components of emotional intelligence, but for this session, I'll only discuss 2: self awareness and self regulation or emotional regulation. But let me just go over the remaining 3. So, under the components of emotional intelligence, we have self awareness, we have empathy, we have motivation, we have self regulation, and we have social skills. All these components, if you're able to develop your skills, if you're able to develop all these skills, all these components, you end up becoming someone that's emotionally intelligent. And for psychologists, like I said, this is a tool we need, and these are skills we need to be effective on our jobs. So, like I said, I'm going to talk more on self awareness and self regulation. If you have questions, please, you can put the questions in the chat box. I would answer them at the end of the session. I have just a few minutes to go. So, what is self awareness? The concept self awareness. What does it? When you hear the word self awareness, what comes to mind? Self awareness is simply your capacity to introspect, to recognize yourself as an individual separate from other people. It involves you being conscious of your thoughts. It involves you being conscious of your feelings, your desires, your actions, and having an understanding of how these things may relate to you, having an understanding of how this relates to your identity and to your personality. Another thing we need to know about self awareness is your ability to perceive and understand the things that make you who you are. Self awareness is you being in tune with yourself, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, understanding your motivation, understanding what your beliefs are. I mentioned beliefs earlier, understanding your values, understanding all these things and knowing how they affect other people. So, the impact of your actions to yourself and the impact of your actions to other people. Self-awareness is very important. It's it's being considered as the most important or essential aspect of emotional intelligence. And for anyone that wants to develop, so there's this saying that your IQ gets you the job, your IQ gets you into school, your IQ gets you into the room. But it's your emotional intelligence that sustains you, that gets you the promotion, that helps your personal growth. So, for anyone that wants to grow personally, you want to grow in terms of your career, you want to grow in terms of your relationship with other people, you want to grow, you want to have a good relationship with your team members, you need emotional intelligence. And the first step in becoming emotionally intelligent is you becoming aware of yourself. Who are you as a person? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What motivates you to do what you do? Having this inner awareness of who you are is it's stepping stone into helping you to build healthy relationship with other people. It's a stepping stone for self improvement. It's a stepping stone for having a good mental health and mental well-being. So, talking about self awareness has been categorized into two. You have internal self awareness, and you also have external self awareness. Now, when we talk about internal self awareness, this simply has to do with your ability to recognize your own emotion. It has to do with you recognizing your values. It has to do with you recognizing what are your interests. So, internal self awareness is the ability to accurately recognize your own emotions, your values, your interests, and it gives you a high level of you become so in tune with your feelings when you're able to recognize these things about you. It makes you in tune with your feelings and gives you a better understanding of what drives you. That's internal self-awareness. Now, when we talk of external self-awareness, this involves your ability to understand how other people perceive you. It includes you being aware of the impact of your behavior on others, the ability to see yourself from an outsider's perspective. When you understand how your behavior impacts other people, it makes you to either readjust, it helps you to reframe what is going through you. So, for example, you understand that each time let me give a scenario. So you're in class, you're with other students, and you like listening to music when the lecture is going on, or you like listening to music to learn, basically. But you know that in class where you have other people, you can't put your phone or your music out loud. you have to use your earpieces, right? But for someone that is not emotionally intelligent, for someone that does not give, let me excuse my French, does not give a damn about other people, the person would just put on his music or her music and be listening. I would say, oh, that is the best way I learn. I learn by listening to music. But someone that is emotionally intelligent will know that this behavior would have a negative impact on other people. So the external self-awareness involves you understanding how other people perceive you and how the impact of your actions on other people. Now, how can we become self aware? Or how is self awareness relevant to psychology? One of the things we need to know is that self awareness is a foundational skill for therapists and counselors. A therapist that is self aware is able to connect deeply with the client. You're able to manage counterference and you're able to maintain objectivity when it comes to your relationship with your client. And it's also important that we also help our clients. So for those that might go into therapy, it's also important you know that you also need to help your client to develop self-awareness for them to understand their own emotions and thoughts. Self-awareness is very important when it comes to psychology because it's like the crux of what we do when we're working with our clients and our patients. Like I said I work with parents, I work with family members, I work with adolescents, and one of the questions or one of the quests of adolescents or adolescent is or teenagers is them wanting to know who they are. You know, this question of who am I want to know more about myself. And it's from self-awareness they get to discover who they are and they get to develop themselves into who they've been created to be. Psychologists, so one of the things we need to know about self-awareness is that psychologists that study self-awareness they go deeper into the concept of self. They go deeper into self-esteem and self-identity. One of the things we do for me, example, one of the things I do when I work with patients or clients is I help them to discover more about themselves. When clients have a deeper understanding of who they are and why they do what they do, it helps them in therapy and it helps them to move to the next level of self improvement. Self awareness is very important. Also, when it comes to metacognitive, self awareness also plays a crucial role there in terms of self monitoring, self evaluation, self regulation. It helps individuals to assess their cognitive abilities, to set goals, and to make decisions. So, self awareness is a skill we all need, very important. It's a skill we all need that's very important for our self improvement and development. When it comes to therapy, okay, I've spoken about this, but let me just read it out. When it comes to therapy and behavior change, self awareness is very essential for setting, achieving personal goals. It enables the individual to identify problematic behaviors, and triggers, making it easier to implement changes. So, if as a therapist, your client knows these are my triggers. Oh, I get upset whenever I see XYZ. He's able to regulate himself or regulate his emotion so that he doesn't get triggered by those things. Self awareness is the cornerstone when it comes to personal development and resilience. It allows individuals to adapt to life changes, learn from experiences, and develop a better understanding of their values and life purpose. Self awareness is very critical when it comes to self regulation and self control. And it enables individuals to recognize their impulse and emotions and make informed choices about how to respond to them. In psychology, the concept of self awareness is not only relevant to personal development and well being, but also for the understanding of human behavior, the dynamics of interpersonal relationship, and the effectiveness of therapeutic intervention. It serves as a critical tool for both psychologists and individuals who are seeking to improve their mental and emotional state. So, What are the strategies to self awareness? How can we become, what are the things we can do? What are the things we can do to make us more aware of ourselves? I have about 10, I have about eight things we can do, but I'll just pick pick them one by one because I have like 5 minutes left now. So the first thing we can do for those who know how to practice meditation, practicing mindfulness meditation is very important. It helps you to be attuned to your thoughts and feelings. When we meditate regularly, it improves our awareness of self and helps us to observe our emotions without judgment. Another thing you can do to become aware of yourself is keeping a journal, writing down your thoughts. So each time you have thoughts that you feel are not too good, write them in a journal and also write out the emotion. It helps you to gain insight into your patterns and also gain insight into your triggers. What trigger you? What are the things that will trigger you? Then keeping a mood tracker. We have apps where we have where we can track your mood. We have different apps on the phone which you can download on your phone to track your mood. When you're aware of your mood, okay, why am I upset? What are my triggers? What is it that my body is telling me? Your ability to monitor these things would help you in becoming more aware of yourself. You could also go further by using a personality assessment. There are different types of personality assessment you can use. We have the MBTI, we have the Big Five personality traits, you have the Enneagram. There are so many personality assessments you can use. This would also give you an insight into who you are as a person and why you do what you do. Then you can get feedback from trusted people, trusted friends, trusted family members, or if you have a therapist, you can get feedback. Ask for feedback. Oh, what do you think about me? And this is where the external self-awareness comes in. Having an understanding what other people feel or the way other people see you. Getting feedback from trusted members, trusted friends, trusted members of your family would help you in getting to know more about yourself. Then also your ability to identify emotional trigger using the emotional tracker or using a journal would also help you in identifying your emotions. Then we also have developing emotional vocabulary, knowing how to use the right word. So you've identified your emotion, but what is the right vocabulary for that emotion? Building on your expanding your emotional vocabulary can also help you understand yourself better, can help you to communicate your feeling better to other people. Now, why is self-awareness important for emotional regulation? For you to be able to regulate your emotion appropriately, you need to be aware of yourself. And I will list this. I have 8 reasons for self-awareness being the foundation for emotional regulation. The first is it helps you to identify your emotion. So when you're upset, you know, oh, I'm upset. When you're happy, you know you're happy. When it helps you. So yourself, your fact that you're aware of yourself helps you to identify the different emotions going through you. It helps you to identify your emotional triggers, help you to identify your internal emotional state, it helps you to identify your body sensation. So I'm going to use anger as an example now. For some people, when they're angry, they start sweating. For some people, when they're anxious, they start sweating. For some people, when they're very furious, their hand starts to shake, the voice trembles. So these are signs that, oh, something is about to happen to me, body cues. But only people that are emotional, those that are aware of these things, would know that, oh, something is about to happen, and they'll be able to regulate their emotion. For us to have good interpersonal relationship with other people, we need to be aware of our body cues, we need to be aware of our emotions, we need to be aware of our internal triggers, our external triggers, so that it can help us, we're able to regulate properly, and we're able to manage our emotions and work appropriately with people. Another thing being self-aware does to you is helps you to recognize response pattern. How do you respond to situations? Why do you do XYZ? Your ability to be aware of yourself would, gives you more deeper insight into the reason you do certain things. And most times the reasons we respond to certain situations the way we respond to it is because we've either learned it from our parents, or we've learned it from our caregivers or significant others. So, and the moment you are able to identify that this pattern is not serving you, this pattern is disempowering, guess what happens? You are able to change and you're able to regulate yourself. Being aware of yourself also helps you to identify coping mechanism. How do I cope with stress? How do I cope with regret? How do I cope with disappointment? And you can only know these things when you're aware of yourself. And that's why we say self-awareness is the foundation to emotional regulations. It provides you with the necessary insights and tools in understanding yourself, understanding your emotion, managing your emotion, and controlling your emotions appropriately. So how do we regulate ourselves? How do we regulate our emotions? I'll be stopping in a few minutes. How do we regulate our emotions? There are different methods we can use to regulate our emotion. And when we talk about emotional regulation, it's simply your ability to move from one emotional state to another emotional state. Emotional regulation, so there are different techniques you can use, techniques that you can use to respond to emotional challenges that would help you to reduce your stress and that would also improve your overall well-being. We have deep breathing exercise, learning how to take deep breath in and out. You inhale through your nose, hold the breath for a few minutes, and exhale through your mouth. This reduces tension and reduces stress. Also, mindful meditation, I've spoken about that, visualization, positive visualization, taking a walk, using a stress ball. There's so many things we can use to regulate ourselves. I guess my time is almost up. Let me see. Hello.
Hi, Oliver Twin. Thank
Hi.
you.
Lena, my time is up, right?
It is. We have a few questions if you'd like to
Okay.
answer them.
Okay. Okay then.
So, first question is, could you recommend a way to self-learn emotional regulation skills? It is the only and I think the most important part of dialectical behavioral therapy that I don't know much about.
Okay. So if you want to self-learn, there are different sites online that you can actually go to learn about self-regulation. But one of the best way you can learn about self-regulation is using we have the tool for cognitive behavioral therapy that I use that mostly to work with my patients in self-regulating. I teach them about breathing exercises. I brief them about relaxing their muscles. I also do visualization. Also, journaling is another way of regulating your emotions. I hope that answered that.
Okay. And second question is someone asking for advice for teaching teenagers with ADHD emotional regulation skills.
Okay. So when it comes to ADHD, one of the things when I work with patients, I try to help to identify in what area do they need self-regulation. Is it in terms of the emotions? Okay, emotional regulation skills, yes. So when it comes to the emotions, I try to help them to, first of all, teach them to identify what the emotional triggers are. That is actually the first step for helping patients with ADHD to identify their emotional triggers. What gets you excited? Once they know what gets them excited, then I go into teaching them how to use relaxation exercise. Take a deep breath, you know, count 1 to 10, take pause for 6 seconds before you do the next activities. There are quite a whole lot of things you can use with them, but these are just a few. Teaching them how to count 1 to 10, teaching them to um, use breathing exercises, teach them how to, using a stress ball or clenching their fist and, clench their fist for a few minutes and relaxing it, clenching their fist for a few minutes and relaxing it. And teaching them to count 1 to 10. I think that one, it's within their purview, something they can do. They don't. And also another thing they can do is to think of a positive scenario that's happened to them, something positive has happened to them in the past. Maybe they have like a Zen place, maybe thinking about the beach or thinking about something that can calm them down, or taking a walk away from the stressful situation or stressful events, just taking a walk. These are things they can do to help them regulate their emotions. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's all of the questions for today. Thank you for joining us today, Oluwatoyin, and to everyone else who joined to watch. For everyone else who would like to watch the next session, it'll begin at 10:30. Thanks again.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.